Guys, welcome back. Today I'm so happy to see you today, and there is a cool stuff, more advanced and highly machine high data science and visualization stuff that we are going to do today. I want to walk you through how you can create your data, get your data through via API from the backend stuff to front end, how you can get a data from a massive data set, convert that into numerical representation, that's sentiment analysis, and then you convert that into visual representation as numbers. So we are gonna start on that using stock price. Now, as you can see, our GDP is not all that stable, so instead of all the time going online to check, you can just build this, and all the time once you run it automatically updates, right? So first of all, what you need to do, you don't need to have prior knowledge about backend, front end, and let me say, and all other stuff. I'm going to walk you through step by step of how you can get it. So the first thing you need to get is first we have to get our massive data set, which is basically online. So where our stock analysis are hosted. So those of you who haven't heard about data, massive data is basically a modernizing war, right? One of the best market data sets that you can get it on online. It has a lot of you can get them from CSV, REST API, and then WebSockets. So in this video, we are going to choose the REST API, where you can just call them, get a request from real-time stock markets, and then we are going to use that to convert it into our data frame for our advanced data analysis, right? So if you look at, so the first thing, you have to install our massive. I've already installed it. So to get it, you just have to come back to your browser, whatever browser that you use. Then you just use if you are, because it is running on an Jupyter Notebook, you use the ampersand, right? Then type install massive, right? Once you type this, it will pop up, right? Massive API clients. So you just copy this, right? You just copy it and you paste it. So over here, you can see that I've already installed that. So once you run the install, it's gonna download all the requests from the internet and then give you, right? So you can see that I've already having it satisfied. That's why it's giving me this. But in your case, you have to install this, right? It will take a couple of minutes before it installed, depending on how fast your internet connection is. Yes, so now that we have installed it, the second one is we have to get, once it's installed, it's a package, right, that you can get our data set from, but it's hosting somewhere on cloud, quote unquote, right? All the files are situated on maybe AWS, S3 bucket or somewhere, right? So in order to get it, to serve it to us, we have to create an account, right? Before you can get an API key here. I've already having it, right? So to get your API key, you have to just come here and then you go to account, and then once you create an account, for instance, you just come the overview to teach you what this massive API data set is all about. You can see that here we have stocks. The stocks is talk about ETFs, bonds, real time, like stock market, you understand, cryptocurrencies, like whatever that's daily trends that goes in. You can see here that we have trade, we have last trade codes, technical indicators, market operation, blah blah blah. There are so many things here. You can see economics. So it's a very large data set hub that you can get all your data set from. So for me, because it's a very large data set, I will end up just calling an API to be serving me in real time than downloading it locally. You get a point. So if you are someone like who is much more into Python and other stuff, you can get it from WebSocket. That one to also serve it or serve you well. Or you can just browse your data. Maybe how you can exploit. Maybe you can just download this straightforward from your CSV. So this quick start shows you how you can do them from your maybe you can see that you can get all this thing from these various platforms, AWS, ST3, CLI, as I said. So these are the places or the platforms that you can get them, right? But I'm going to show you the simplest way to get it. So once you are here, you just come back to your API, right? So over here, just come to REST API, right? First, you need to create an account. I already have an account. That is why you are seeing it here. But in your case, creating an account, you have to, first of all, okay, let's come back. Come here, right? And then you come down here. This is the official website, massive.com. Then you get and create an API key. But this one, because I've already logged in, that's why you are seeing my credentials here. But in your case, once you come, you have to click new, right, before you can get. So in your case, you come create API and then new, right? Once you create new, because I've already having some created my API. Please, this is a dummy API. If you use it, it's not gonna work for you because it's continuously updates. So now it has already created. So you can change the name and give it whatever name that you want. Yes, so once you create the API, you grab the API, right? So in our code, if you look down here, so now we are importing this massive from the REST API clients, which is gonna serve us our data, right? So now we have to import the API key that you created. This is where you just dump it in. So when you put it in here, then you execute the commands. It's gonna give you your endpoint, right? So now you have created an object for your API key. So now to check this, once you created your API key or request, when you go to your mail, you Massive API will send you an email, something like this, right? You can see some of the endpoints that they are serving us depending on the platforms that you use. So you can see that this is the API, http massive.com.docs.rest LLMs, right? Because it's a very large sentiment analysis. So what you need, if you want it in real time, this is how it's going to be, like in a WebSocket format, right? So because I'm just using REST API to check on that, in your case, if you want to dig it more, I've done with both the two and it works up very, very well. So you grab this one, your API here, right? Once you get the first one, REST API text, so you just grab this text and then you come back to the code. So now this is where we are coming to do the cool things. So now we are creating an object instances where we can get, instead of all the time calling this API. So our URL, you just put the API there, and then we are creating a request, right? The RES meaning request. So we are getting it from the API that we just created. Because it is text, so our text is equals to request.txt. You can see here the extension, right? And now we want to print, let's say about 1,000 text, right? We want 1,000 characters or something like that. So if you execute this is the output you are going to get for full documentation or C blah 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 blah, right? Alternatives. It will show you how it works. So here I will get crypto, I'll get this, and I'll get that because I'm just instantiating it, right? But if you want to dig it more, you can explore in that. So now, having done that, because we are serving it from API, this is normal text representation. You can use that in real stock market because the thing has been categorized in a sentiment analysis form. So this is where we are now going to use our more hands-on our data analytics stuff, right? Please, I know you may not understand this codes, but what they do is it's a patterns that you are creating, right? To get to convert this into title, URLs, and description. So if you look at here, the title start from all the way here, and then the URL is also getting all the way here, and then the title. So this is the title that you're also getting from, right? So this dingy or weird hexadecimals and forward slash bracket, that is what basically it means. So now we are converting these patterns text into data frame, right? So now, as we know, df is equals to, so because we are reading it from data matches data frame, so now we know that if you look at this thing here, we can see that it has a source and then the URL and then the text, right? That is exactly what we have here, the title. We have the title, the URL, and then the description. So now we have to convert that into data frame where data frame will understand. So when we do that and then we do the df.head, so now that we have converted this into data frame, so now we will print. When we print on this, you get this. So in Jupyter Notebook, normally it's very, when printing something, not need to use the print method. This is the best thing that you can get it right. So it will put it in there. So now you can see now how it is well structured in our data frame. We have the merchant aggregate, the website or the URL, and then the aggregate European data frame, right? So now that we have gotten it, we are now going to create a list, right? An empty list, because we don't know the feeding records that are coming in all the time. So we are instantiating this object list called empty. So now the current section, we don't know which one is coming, and we put that to none, and then current subsection, that one to none. So now we have to create nested for loop to instantiate any incoming updates, right, from the data. So now the dot strips mean we want to strip. If the data is too long, it will strip it in a nice, well formatted form. And then once it start coming, if line switch, then we switch it to this, meaning we want to break it into another line. Yes, so you can see this, that's basically this fancy syntax is all about. I know those in Python, you understand all this, the group by math, right? And then we are reading. So now that we have done with it, we are appending all our data frame into records, right? So when we execute this, we are now getting our section, our subsection, the title, the URL, and description. You see that now we are serving it. It's serving us through REST API, right? And you can see the sections. We have alternative, crypto, stock, all the way. So we have so many stocks that are inside, right? We have 104 47 by 5 dimensions or observations, right? So now that we have our data, but you can still see that it's now, so now wrangling means you have to dig in, remove some things, some weird text that human don't understand. We have to use analytical data science, and we call it data wrangling, right? To dig in the data, make sure that we convert them into well informed work. In data science, we call it data cleaning. This is where the messy work lies in, right? So now we are now, first of all, we have to strip the white spaces, as I said. So now we are digging inside the data and make sure that everything is well structured. So this line, we are using the lambda to check the columns. If the columns has any empty spaces, we strip them, because it's a if and else condition for each line. So once we do that, this is where we are going to drop the inconsistency or unwanted values that we don't need. So once we do that, and that is where our main destiny is going to be on the description, because it has a long, sometimes it can be long sentiment lines of just description. So if df of this column is not equal to code, then we strip it. Same to the merchant df, that one to the section, we do the same thing for the alternative as well. And then we are checking the domain where it's coming from the URL where we are extracting it, which URL is coming from, right? Once we get that, and then we print. So now when we print it, you can now see where they are coming from. So the non-null, so meaning all our data is now well cleaned. Yes. So from installing massive data to wrangling our data, converting it into a data frame. So now we are done, and then wrangling it. We are done with our data wrangle. So now our data cleaning. Now we have to convert this into what we call data visualization, right? This is where the cool stuff gets in. So with this, what we need to do is we have to install a very well-known package called BeautifulSoup. BeautifulSoup is basically an advanced interactive dashboard that you can interact with your data, right? Instead of you could have used Matplotlib, Seaborn, PolyExpress. You can use all of them, perfect, it will all work. But because we want it to render serving us on web browser based filter where you can search, you can see each record, that is why we are going to use the BeautifulSoup. So BeautifulSoup normally serves data via the internet, be it an HTML format, be it from database, straightforward. That is so beautiful about it. So we have to install our BeautifulSoup. We are using version 4. That is the current version on this recording, right? And then from there, so now we are importing our request, because we want to get our request from BeautifulSoup. And then so BS4 basically means is BeautifulSoup, right? And then we are importing, anytime you see array, it's basically regular expression in Python, right? In wrangling data, of course, we have to install our pandas. So now, remember we created this URL, we have to call it here with our URL. Even here, for teaching purpose, that's why I've written here. But the best thing is, because we have already defined it apps there, all this, if you remove this code, it's still gonna work perfectly for you, because we have already defined it at the top here when we were creating. You can see them here, right? You can see our URL, our requests, our text, but for teaching purpose, that is why it's still there here, so that you understand where they are coming from. You get it? All right. So now we have to re-instantiate some of the splitting lines, strips, switch, because we have to call them in for BeautifulSoup to understand, right? And matching groups and other sections that we are going to use. So now that we are done, we are appending that once again into our records, right? So now that we are done, our data is now ready to visualize. So we have two types. Maybe you are someone that you normally have how do I say, okay, sometimes maybe your internet doesn't work well. We have a way that you can run it on locally. So in running it locally, you have to use, this is the matplotlib I just used. This one is so simple. You just do the count group by section, then you call the ascending, then you use the x and y axis and then you just give them the title, the number of endpoints, the title, and that's all. So if you look at this, now we have been able to take, how many stocks do we have? We have 46 entries, right? And then crypto, we have 20. Options, we have 9 in. Forex, we have 9 in. Partners, 15. Indices, 13. Features, we have 9. Economy, 4. And alternative, 2. So this is how we have, it has just given us the analysis using Matplotlib, right? So now we are coming to the interactive way, right? Using the, I'm also teaching you how you can use the Poly Express to also do that, right? So same to the Poly Express, you have to need the group count, which is the main object that we are creating for our data frame, and then you use the fix. So this one is the px.par bar. This is a bar chart that we are going to visualize, and we are going to sort the values from the counting, right? And we don't want it to be ascending, so that's why we set it to false. And then the x-axis is going to take section, and then the y-axis is going to take count, right? So now that you just use the title and then the text, and then you use the update traces helps it to always transpose, let me, text position, right? And then we want to save this as or open it in maybe a browser or something like this. So when you click on this, let's say you want to expand it, you can see that is, well, you can render it from web browser, but this one, because we haven't done any advanced analytics, that's why you are not seeing it here, right? So now we are now coming to our cool thing, using the BeautifulSoup. So now we have to import our stuff, and now we are using Python display. We are using the, because we want it to render from HTML display, so we have to import this Python display, right? So we want it to render or serve it on a web base. So our records for dashboard is equals to, which field do we want? We want the section, we want the title, we want the URL, description. So we are renaming them to columns description, which to be this. And where are we getting the dictionary from? We are getting the orientation from records, remember? And then now we have to convert this to JSON, because dumping it, serving it from URL, it won't come straight. We have to convert it to JSON before Pandas, before it will actually reflect on our numerical representation, right? Accounts. So we have to do that, and then we have to encode it into the encoder. We have to set it to false, because it might not maybe be standardized to some of the browsers that we serve. So now the total, we want to get the total records for the dashboard, and now we want to open it into this URL or endpoint, and we want it to be readable, right? And the encoding is UTF-8. I know some of you, and we are aliasing it as F. So anytime it sees F, meaning it's reading from HTML, right? Sweet. So now, because we are using our regular expression .SUP, we are constanting our raw data with this URL or path, and then we are using the lambda function to also check the data, and we are passing in our JSON here, right? So now we want to replace all the ends, so you can see the endpoints here. So we just click on so now we want to initialize the file path where you can open it, can get this browser from. So this is the local. In your case it might change, but in my browser, where the file is located or the data set is this live path. So once this thing is executed, so once I run this format, right, it will take some time. Yes, and it's giving me this description. Yes, not indexed. Okay. Yes, I think I know what I did. Let me quickly fix that. All right. So once this is well executed, you have to rerun all of them before you can get this right. Beautiful. Wait. Okay, I think I know where the section is coming from. So let me rerun that. So now there we go. There we go. So this is the endpoint, right, where you can interact them locally, right? So you can see you can filter using the same data we got from the internet, the indices, the features, the partners, the options, Forex 20. You can understand. So these are the aggregation, like the analysis. Even here you can also see them, both stock, and other stuff. So in a nutshell, this is how you build an API service or application from the website, right? So it was 20, but now you can see that it's updating, right? The more you click, sometimes it keeps updating. You see, indices were 13, but you can see that crypto has increased. It was 20, but now you can see that it has increased in 28. So that is how it is. Sometimes in real time it will keep on changing because here it's serving through REST API. So basically that is all I have for you here. So this is the breakdown chart, shows the example. So if you look down here, there is where you can get the method. We are using the get method, the format JSON, authentication via API, and then the section stocks. So you can read more about it, right? See how it's serving us. So this is the JSON, how we are getting the data from in real time. You get it. So this is basically how you can turn from 0 to your application. This is advanced data science project, right? So I will link this project on the description so that you can also get it and fine-tune it. Make sure you do your analysis well, understand the code, and then yes, you can also put it on your portfolio as well. All right, so on this note, thank you for watching. I'll bring you more updated version. Ciao.